your most powerful ability in the game acquired, the run is going to get quite a bit more crazy very soon.
Absolutely massive, Toadette. Grips just took a few deaths getting sent back to that safety station.
I heard you guys like lore, right? Well, we have go fast left, we have go fast up with enemy, we have go fast down, and now we have go fast up without enemy. Charge jump acquired.
Good time zone, everybody. Welcome back to the Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills, No Out of Bounds, No Teleport Anywhere tournament in 2022. Semifinal action coming towards you. Ronny versus Dedew. Just a little bit of housekeeping. There will not be a game 3 if this ends up being a 2-0, so just so that you're aware of that. My name is Shafe, joined by Richard on commentary. I had a chance to talk with the runners before the race, and it should be a bit of an interesting one. Both runners have been fairly busy. Dedew, quote, said, "Practice? What's that?" Launched the game for the first time since his match against Infinite just over an hour ago, but is feeling pretty good in game, and that is just kind of Dedew's forte. He's got some pretty smooth skills and generally is pretty sharp, even if he's a little bit out of practice, but does expect that he might get some sore forearms and hands when he hasn't played in a while. That's something that he's been dealing with over the years, so you might see that come in play in the second and third match. But no matter who wins, he just wants to see a close race. Meantime, Ronny has been a little bit busy and a little bit not motivated, so hasn't done a whole lot of practice either. Just kind of keeping his skills sharp, just playing the game a little bit, and keeping things on the up and up on that front. So Richard, my friend, my lovely friend, what do you think we can get out of this match between number 2 and number 3 seeds?
Well, just to give everyone a recap, this is going to be our final semifinal match here between Ronny and Dedew, and we have solidified the first finalist in our Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills 2022 tournament here in Rin. And so both of these runners, we're expecting to see a closer match here with their second and third seeds. Again, maybe both of them having a little bit of rust will kind of even out the 28 that they'll have. And so, we'll see how consistent both of these runners are. I do expect us to have a pretty close set of races here. Dedew saying we're not going to do a game 3, but I feel like we're actually going to need one because I feel like this could go either way in the first 2 matches.
Yeah, and Ronny has a long memory since he had 19. Dedew beat him, so he's looking to get a little bit of revenge. Average times for the runners: Dedew's got a 29.29 in the tournament so far. Ronny 28.48. Fastest time posted by Ronny is a 28.20. Fastest time posted by Dedew is a 29.14. So definitely do expect that Ronny's gonna need to have a little bit of spaghetti. Been pretty consistent in order for Dedew to take out at least one game off of Ronny here today, but anything is possible. It is a very difficult game. Ronny has actually had a bit of trouble with Sorrow Bash so far in this tournament, currently sitting at 79.17% on that trick, but everything else is looking pretty good for him. Also has missed a grenade jump too. He's sitting at 75% on that. So sort of mid to late game, I expect, is probably where we're going to see Dedew have some of the advantage, but he's also had a bit of trouble with Door Warp. 59.38% on that trick is the French runner. We do have the race clock starting in about 30 seconds, and then we'll get going. So, yeah, like I said, it's going to be a close one, as Richard alluded to, but Dedew kind of definitely behind the 8 ball, I would say, in this one, despite the closeness in their seed matchup, rank 2 and rank 3, but you're going to see a pretty good one here. And obviously, we have the grand finals going to be coming up later on next week, a week from today, decided by this match. So Excitement all abound.
Yeah, we are getting started here in our first race of this last semifinal match. I want to remind everyone that Ronnie has one All Skills tournament victory and an All Skills tournament second place. So, Ronnie very familiar with the finals in Ori tournaments. So we'll see if Dedew can kind of take that reign away from Ronnie here in this matchup. And both of these runners, again, going to be going into the early game, and we'll see how they end up doing. And they're going to be going into this beginning part of the game. We're not going to see too much variation really at the beginning portions, but we'll see how comfortable each of them are feeling with the amount of rust that they've put on over the last week or so.
Yeah, for sure. And what I really like about Ronnie is that some of the strats that he pulls off in the game are not like the quote unquote fastest if you compare them to, say, Lucy's times, right? But he does a lot of sort of interesting stylistic stuff, particularly when you start to get the charge dash bash and charge jump, all the late game stuff. He's got a lot of just unique little style points that he puts into his run, and I really like the flavor that adds, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. We do see Dedew just kind of take a little bit of a bonk there early, giving Ronnie just a slight early advantage. No big deal. XP routing, of course, is going to be a thing. Oh, we got the OG 1764 energy and another animation after
Beautiful.
that by Ron. That is going to give Dedew the advantage here in the early going.
Yeah, but again, with these little advantages here and there, these races typically come down to a death or two. So especially at such a high caliber of play, we'll see if anyone ends up taking any deaths. I don't mean intentional deaths, which we're about to see here for this ghost door, but accidental deaths are definitely a factor that go into everyone's gameplay. And also, watching the stream is a potential differentiating factor, and we're going to be seeing Dedew here get this fourth health cell early, while Ronnie more comfortable with the 3 health route, being such a high level player that he is going to be opting for less safety and more time save.
Indeed. As far as Dedew goes, he might peak at the stream later on. Just kind of at some major game checkpoints like glide, maybe climb, door warp, that kind of thing. But for the most part, he just likes to focus on the race, focus on his own performance, and not be distracted by watching where his opponent is. So we'll see whether or not that plays in at all. We're going to see Ronnie here, of course, first at wall jump as a result of that. 3 HP. OGS in chat. QGS, right? Or what? No.
Ori Quaza Shaka.
Oh, there you go. See, you know what? I'm just going to shut up and drink some coffee and let you handle the next 30 seconds.
Oh, cues. And yeah, we're going to be getting this energy here that is needed for the route. But again, this time difference coming down to that health pickup that Dedew ended up taking. And we'll see how Ronnie does throughout the later portions of the game. One thing, again, with Ronnie having been in those finals, those were years ago. So Ronnie showing a level of consistency, being able to, perform with this 3 health route for such a long time. Ronnie's very comfortable with it. So, hopefully not going to be having any, issues with that as we get towards the later portions of the run with places that do deal 3 damage to you. Meanwhile, Dedew is going to be opting just to make sure that you can kind of make those couple mistakes and they don't end up costing a minute. They might end up costing you a few seconds instead. So, we'll see how both of these runners do as they enter Black Root Burrows here. We're going to be seeing Ronnie on the left side starting his save anywhere as Dedew kind of makes it down towards this well. And Ronnie now going to be getting a quick flame there and going into Black Root Burrows. And I believe that Dedew is going to be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. Pretty much, you can lose a lot of time here in Blackroot on the basis of the cycles. There's only one big death that you can take. Don't expect it from either runners, and it's pretty much right here if you don't place a safety save, which Ronnie does. Most runners do place a safety save here. We'll see whether or not Dedew does that in a few seconds as well. Setting up for the cycle is Ronny trying to beat the lasers, or is he doing pause floats this time? Looks like he's going to be setting up for ye old laser strap. So we'll see him jumping across the darkness here, lighting up the lanterns, circling that XP there. He's very mindful of his XP count. Of course, we need to have that carefully managed within 19 in order to be able to execute Frankie Walk and Sequence Break our way into Grotto. Cycle looking alright for Ronny so far. Yep, gets a little bit of a pedicure there off the lasers, but he's good. And up to the platform, and that will save.
Dedew fell in the spikes a little bit at the bottom there. We'll see if that affects these cycles. I don't believe it will, but Dedew going to be making it up as well, while Ronny goes towards that old, the normal route here, towards this lantern.
No Plaus votes?
Plaus votes.
For us today.
Shake didn't sleep that much, so we'll be having a little bit of word reversals here and there in this commentary, and it's fine.
Yeah, just dumpster fire commentary, just normal things.
Yeah, we'll see if that affects these two players, because we know commentary curses are very real, and if you start to go off the rails with your commentary, we'll see if they go off the rails in game as well.
I hope not. I'd feel super bad about that.
Dedew going for a save anywhere here. Ronny opting to start a save as we get down and drop down. So a little bit of difference here, but in the end, it doesn't really do that much for each of the runners, and they should be getting through just fine.
Yeah, I think grand total between these strats, the difference is like maybe a second, 2 seconds, somewhere in there. Of course, depending on execution with menuing and all of that. Ronny needs to stock here though to manage the XP. Didn't get some off of that bottom slime that fell into the lantern room. So you need to take a little bit of a pause there. That's going to slow him down, but he's setting up for Frankie Walk in the meantime. Right side, Dedew does not have blind movement activated. So we'll get to see him jumping over the pit where we did not see that from Ronny. In the meantime, taking Billy for a walk, and plomp plomp goes the Billy. Looks like Dedew's experience is fairly good, but we'll lose time to not taking that blind movement. A little bit of a safety strat there, I imagine. And positioning here looks good for Billy on Ronny's Frankie Walk. Again, both runners using Quick Flame. They don't have Magnet to suck in that experience, so gotta be very precise with the way they jump up this wall. And Ronny!
That was close. That was pretty far away, yeah.
Yeah, but he was also very close on XP. So that 6 that he gathered there was just enough to be able to get in there. But still a little bit spooky, gotta say.
And now Dedew going up on that Frankie Walk as well. Both runners at this moment in time about 20 seconds away. All right, Dedew, very nicely done on that Frankie. Getting a lot of XP actually on that, more than Ronny did. So nicely done from Dedew. We'll see if Ronny gets this early Grotto cycle, which he does. Very comfortable at doing that. So this is going to be an opportunity to get a little bit of a lead if Dedew doesn't get it on the right side. We'll see if Dedew ends up getting it as well. Ronny going to be getting this ghost door here as Dedew goes for the early Grotto cycle, and all eyes on the right side of the screen. Let's see if Dedew can do this. Both of these runners very high placing runners, and unfortunately Dedew taking that time loss there of 8 seconds.
Yeah, didn't get it, so to speak. Which a little bit surprising. Both runners are actually 100% on that trick coming into the race, and Dedew usually doesn't miss that. Got a bit of an unfortunate ramp there, but not much you can do about that, and just carry on and keep playing the video game. Nice spider shot ghost door. In the meantime, Ronny is going to be coming up to the Grotto cycle, and he is 100% on that, I believe.
Yeah, short death from Dedew there as well. Ronny solidly done.
Yep.
Destroying the energy there.
Wow. The fake French baguette jump.
Yeah, that is, we'll see how Dedew does there, but we know that historically Dedew is French. Taking some damage there, unfortunately. Maybe a little bit of flubs here from Dedew from all of that, exam prep and exam taking that he's been doing. But, we'll see if Dedew can shore that up going into the later parts of this run, as Ronny doing a pretty solid job so far overall.
Yeah, it might just be a case of needing to get his hands warmed up. And, you know, this game is extremely hard to perform at the highest level, so would not be too surprised to see Ronny make a few mistakes in the late game as well, just because of the sheer difficulty of the run, not because he's bad at the video game or anything. It's very hard. I wasn't watching Dedew. Is he confirmed French?
I was looking away, but I can only assume that Dedew is in fact French.
Grease says
Oh.
Dedew is not French.
Dedew is not French. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, uh-oh.
I do believe that we call that a sad.
I believe this means you do not get your baguettes out in chat. So, unfortunately, you know, with that as well, Dedew is, you know, getting a little bit of a bigger differential here in the time loss. So it seems about 30 seconds or so lead for Ronny. So, again, you know, both players maybe having some... Dedew taking 3 damage there. Be careful with that shot. Okay, everything's fine.
I'm not panicking. You're panicking.
Yeah, I'm panicking for sure. And Dedew not going to be going for the C juggle route as well, and going to be getting that ability cell up there. And we'll see how Ronny does going into the Ginso tree here.
Yeah, and that time save that Ronny's going to have is basically on that ability cell picked up. The differential between the tricks itself, Terror Break and C juggle, are pretty much the same. So it's just the time taken to grab that ability cell. Clean Ginso so far for Ronny, coming up on Mr. Asmus cycle. Anticipate him dropping the save after the jump here. Yep, there's the buffer and the dash immediately into it, and does not get trolled by the game not placing this save. Dedew is going to be opening up the door. No game storage strats from Dedew. In the meantime, puzzle room looking pretty good. We're going to have to see whether or not Ronny gets the 3 cycle or the 4 cycle on ye old Grotto mini boss. Here we go. Spamming the shots in with careful scroll wheel action. Looking okay so far. Ooh, that last shot looked pretty close. Right side spawn, gross, and he bails on it. Yeah, he didn't want the XP to drop there into the bottom right, I don't think. So he actually only fired 1 shot and then went to the left. I like that as a little bit of a heads-up play from Ronny. Just, you know, making sure that he doesn't take an unfortunate death to the Ginso mini boss trying to collect XP or change up his routing. He can just, you know, keep mentally strong on that front. Setting up for the ghost door here. Mr. Asmus cycle as well. Set up for Dedew. And ghost door. Ooh, running just a little bit of spaghetti there, trying to jump up into the spikes. It's harder than it looked, that's for sure. And gets to bash at just over 13 minutes.
Yeah, and that is an incredible time for Bash in a race setting, as Dedew going into the mini boss here as well. We'll see if the mini boss here decides to kind of do Dedew any bad by going to the right as well, and it looks like it is the case. Dedew getting those shots in and getting the kill here, avoiding the health so that you can get the 3 health here.
Health management in Ginso very important. I find it personally more awkward on 4 HP than on 3
Oh,
HP,
absolutely. Ronny had a little bit easier time by being on that 3 HP point. Going to be doing a double bash here on Ronny's side. Trying to get that save down and got it before the shot came up, so no big deals there. And then getting here to the key dupe and making sure to get those 3 keys in as Dedew gets bash at 13:58. So within a minute of each other, but Dedew is bleeding time basically on all of these splits. We'll see if you know, that ends up being the case later on in the run as well. Still pretty clean play from Dedew, so you know, we might be kind of gunning for a death on Ronny's side if you're a Dedew fan. But again, we'll see. There's definitely a couple difficult sections coming up in the rest of this race. So, you know, anything could still happen. But again, you're going to need to clean up your play if you want to beat Ronny.
Well, that sick dash glide over the flower plant was definitely the sort of small little optimization that Dedew needs to perform in order to be able to, you know, keep pace with Ronny, who, by the way, thanks Skullblacka on truck, is only 2 seconds behind his PB. Just a little, about halfway through the run for him. So looking pretty good, not given Dedew a whole lot of leeway to try and compete here in game 1. If you're team game 3 like I am, you definitely want to see Dedew take at least one. But we'll have to see how that goes. XP looking good for Dedew. Does get one dropped into the middle there, but should... Oh, it floats back up, but not all the way. What a video game.
Yeah.
Swamp
Incredible.
entry for Ronny. In the meantime, left side of your screen setting up for the hyperspeed that continues Ronny's 100% performance on Swamp entry. Dedew, as he heads into it, he is 8750 on that trip coming up. And double bashes in Swamp are impossible, but looks like Ronny does not get trolled by the water shaders. So that's good. He gets up to the stomp tree. That is going to be 1542 for him.
Yeah, that is an incredible stomp time, and something to note. You know, being this close to your PB, one of the things that we saw Rin doing when Rin was on PB pace in the last match is Rin kind of went for everything until one mistake happened, because, you know, even though this is a race, looks like Ronnie's 9 seconds behind now. You know, until you make that one mistake, you end up trying to go for everything because, you know, you still want a PB. But as Ronny gets further away from his PB, we'll see, you know, if he decides for some more safe strats to be able to kind of just secure a lead against Dedew as Dedew going into the stomp tree right now.
Yeah, and I think that depends whether Ronny checks in on the stream and sees where Dedew is. I think with, you know, a minute time differential, you probably don't mind taking a few risks, but probably an extra safety save, for example, coming out of Sorrow, because if you die and get sent back to the Sunstone, it's all of a sudden a pretty even race. So expect safety saves from Ronny, probably at, you know, the possibilities for big deaths, but otherwise might continue to push it, like you said. Did not see a cutscene, which is good if you are a fan of Team No Lore. Going for what was previously thought to be a task-only stomp. Bash gets it very nicely, avoiding a little cutscene there. As Dedew is heading out of Swamp Inn, we'll be seeing whether or not we get lore. Ended up losing a race in the randomizer tournament because he got lore down at Grenade Tree. So we'll see whether or not he goes, gets the cutscene skip here momentarily. SA up for Ronny in the meantime, left side, as he's going to skip the teleporter. Cutscene there. And Dedew, Kuro cutscene skip is good. Bash angle was a little bit low for my liking, but he gets the jump over top and is on through to Charge Flame.
Yeah, and going here on the left side, we're going to be seeing Ronny get this stomp as we see Dedew. Going to go for no double bashing here. Going to opt just to skip the cutscene with a rekindle. Going for those very safe strats, making sure that you don't lose a lot of time by bashing yourself into those insta-kill spikes at the bottom of that. Ronny going into the fast stompless attempt here, and we'll see how Ronny does. Taking a save here, wanting to make sure you don't go all the way back to your last save, because it is quite a bit away and would even up the race in that case. And we're going to be seeing Ronny here on the left do that, as Dedew is going to be skipping the cutscene on the right.
Yeah, that Stomp Peg cutscene at Valley Entry takes a surprising amount of time, and you're sent back all the way to the teleport if you take a death without placing a save. So I do like that from Ronny.
Low shot from Ronny. Nice double bash to recover it, it looks like.
Yeah, he's
okay,
good too.
nice
Not even sad Salas on that.
Yeah. Good awareness from Ronny, making sure to get that shot high enough with the double bash to be able to get to the cell in time. That would have cost quite a bit of time, not enough to have Dedew come back, maybe like 20 seconds or so, but definitely would have been a big issue for Ronny to have to do that backup. But not having to do it, going to be securing that time save there as we go into Sorrow.
Yeah, Dedew being only roughly a minute behind Ronny, considering that Ronny's was at 9 seconds behind PB. Not too sure where he is at now on that front as he executes Sorrow Bash cleanly and is up through into Sorrow Pass itself. Dedew is playing pretty much as well as he can, given the circumstances, as we talked about off the top of the broadcast. He's got exams and that kind of thing. Doing what he needs to do to try and take a game here off of Ronny. It's just Ronny's not letting him back into it. As C-Juggle, left side of your screen, frog damage looks pretty good so far. No extra hits, just a couple more up onto the platform, the bash up into the float, get the shot off. Drop down onto the right side and a rocket jump up to get through the cycles. Very nicely executed from Ronny. I think he got energy drop there off the plant, maybe?
Yeah.
Might have just been a stomp cancel, too. Kind of looked, glanced over between the screens kind of at the wrong time there.
Yeah, meanwhile, Dedew going for Sorrow Bash here, going to be taking this energy to get almost back to full, as Ronny's going to be skipping this. Again, we saw Dedew take the ability cell earlier, so I'm not going to be going for C-Juggle here. And so we might be seeing both of these runners get to the tree at a similar time, but again, you will have to go get the Sunstone a little bit later on here.
Yeah, rocket jump from Dedew, Terror Breaker out for him. Ronny's laser cycle actually was a little bit off. Had to pause there and wait, not losing too much time. I would anticipate here Ronny getting an update about 30 seconds behind PB. Is probably at this point just going to play it safe. It doesn't really have the PB chance at this point, this late in the run, so you're in a race setting, you just want to make sure you take a game off of your opponent. Dedew definitely good enough to punish Ronny if he takes any big deaths. So I would anticipate stomping down here on Sorrow, for example. A little bit of spaghetti there from Ronny, but that's okay. Place a save probably on one of these platforms here. No, he just goes straight for it. Featherless too? No, he feathers. Okay, so that's the safety that Ronny takes. Oh, we get Wilhelm.
I think Ronny. Okay, probably gonna save here before entering Misty. I would love to see another save at some point before we get to the skill tree, but again, Ronny maybe not 100% sure where Dedew is. We'll see if Ronny ends up doing any saves or not. I was kind of worried about that stomp there, but Ronny knows better than I, so it's completely fine as we go through the beginning parts of Misty. Again, all of these will kill Ronny if you take any face plant into the spikes, and Ronny taking a save there for that cutscene skip, as well as making sure to not go back all the way to Sorrow.
Yeah, one of the good things for a race perspective, having discovered that the rekindle skip there actually does save a little bit of time, is that it's also extra safety. So you don't have to worry as much. Of course, if you're on 3 HP, you have to worry all the time in this seed, but in a race setting, you don't have to worry about getting sent back to the Sunstone. Does activate climb, gets the autosave there, of course. Dedew will not do... Oh, yes, he will stomp into the spikes, actually. But he had 4 HP, and that is why he takes it.
That's why
so he doesn't take a death. Yeah.
Back up to 4 health as well. Getting a lot of health drops. Getting that energy as well.
Yeah, I really like that strat of bashing the frog into the spikes so that when you slip through there, as the scene changes, you actually end up getting.
Ronny just did a save, by the way, and also picked up an energy. So Ronny probably feeling pretty good about getting that additional energy drop there as we to Misty. That extra energy drop could mean an extra save, maybe before the mini boss or something like that. But you know, Ronny with these saves all over Misty, definitely securing a lot of good time save against Dedew, as Dedew is only at the tree right now. Looks like Ronny taking another safety save before the mini boss. I really like this play in a race setting. You know, you're already faster than your opponent's kind of average run throughout the tournament, so you're kind of hoping that. Oh, Dedew! Oh, Dedew! Oh, I stopped myself because I was just so scared.
Sometimes you end up getting Frankie Hogan in there, jumping in with a chair and making you very, very sad with a death at the mini boss. So, little safety save there, race setting, especially when you're not worried about PBing anymore. You do enjoy seeing that from a race perspective. But yeah, this is going to be tough for Dedew right now. About a minute behind a climb. Needs pretty much at this point, things to go terrible for Ronny in the final escape, or door warp. You know,
Dedew! Meatballs!
I know they're tasty. I know Jite has cooked them up fresh for you, but you're racing. You can eat meatballs
okay. Everything's okay. Just gonna get through this mini boss, and then you're just gonna level up, and you're fine. Nobody's ever died leaving Misty Woods before, so
No,
that's not going to
no,
happen.
no. Especially not in a race setting.
All
All right,
right,
Ron is
yeah.
through to grenade. That is going to be roughly a 24:40 time for him. And yeah, about a minute separation, I would say, still for to do a little bit of extra spaghetti, and Missy might have, speaking of the meatballs, might have put him behind a couple extra seconds, but at this point, probably not the difference maker. We'll see. Ronnie's playing very, very solid. He's doing what he needs to do to close this out. The rocket jump off of the Frankie, charge dash into the crystals. I love this little wall scrap off of that section there, leading to boulder escape from Ronnie. A little bit of a S-curve kind of jump sequence, and teleporting off to Swamp. He is in the final stretch. We'll need to pick up the Horror Fields health cell, of course, after getting up to 4 HP off of the Black Group teleporter. So, meantime, Dedew is heading into Lost Grove. Takes the death of the lasers, but he has one, of course, at the lever glitch, so it's not a massive time loss, but probably enough to seal race number 1 at this juncture, I would say.
Yeah, unfortunately, anything short of a soft lock here, Ronnie will be able to recover from. So, you know, even if Ronnie doesn't... Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know, you have a save there, Ronnie, but it's... Yeah. Going for this grenade jump here, and then going into the final escape. Again, Ronnie can take a couple deaths in the final escape and still probably secure this victory regardless. If Ronnie is watching... Dedew right now, you know, a strategy that we've seen before employed is, you know, just opting not to go for the final grenade jump just to have that little bit of safety. But we'll see what Ronnie does. Ronnie is a very successful and consistent player here, getting door warp on first try, going to try to skip this cutscene as well.
Ronnie being 75% on grenade jump may factor in mentally, depending on how he's feeling. And like you alluded to, especially if he's watching the restream. If you're not watching the restream, I think against a you calibrate your grenade jump. But if you are watching it at this point, yeah, you might just play it safe and rocket jump and then charge dash into the final trigger. We'll see how that goes. He is in the final escape now, weaving off to the left, floating a little bit longer to set up the fish cycle. Stomp down, looks good. Bashing off the first fish, Jeremy the second fish, and up through, not spawning Kuro. Very nicely done to do that completely off camera. Is bashing to the left, looks like he will go for G-jump. Setting it up, getting it, and he is through, skipping the first half. Yeah, that is a tough time to be competing against. That is going to be the fastest that Ronnie has raced in this tournament. His previous was a 28:20, and that is going to be a sub 28 for sure.
Yeah, incredibly done from Ronnie here to do entering the final escape right now with a first try door warp. Very nicely done from Dedew. Definitely getting the rust off in this run for Dedew will help with that second race, and we'll see how that factors in as Ronnie going in to get that final time. No jumps, getting 27:46.
That is a pog time.
That is an incredible time from Ronnie. Again, you know, getting 28s throughout this tournament is impressive enough, but getting a 27 when it counts, you know, getting into the semifinals here, wanting to get into those finals, you know, try to secure another tournament victory for Ronnie. We'll see how that ends up doing as Dedew coming into the end of the escape here.
Yeah, that's only 24 seconds behind his PB, by the way. So, like, on fire performance from Ronnie. I didn't catch the morning race with Rin, but that might be the fastest time in the tournament. Unless Rin had a faster one.
I believe Rin had a 28 earlier.
Nice. Alright, well, Dedew's through, and he's got the grenade jump, so he's just got to hold right for a little bit. GG to both. That was an excellent race from both runners. Unfortunately for Dedew, Ronnie was pulling 0 punches in that race. He came to play, and play he did, taking the first match, leading the best of 3 series 1-0. So Dedew's got to win game 2, or we will be done for today. Dedew does not want to play game 3, so unless he wins game 2, that will be all that we will see. Just
29-10.
Still
really
pretty good
nice
from Dedew. That is actually Dedew. Yeah, that's Dedew's fastest run of the tournament too. Beats his previous by 4 seconds. So, you know, do what you got to do, and then Ronnie still wins. Unfortunately, that's sometimes just how it is. Of course, Dedew is going to be in tough. We got Lion Almanar coming up and joining me on commentary in the next match, I do believe. Thank you very much, Richard. Appreciate having you. You are lovely to commentate with, sir.
Thank you, Shafe, and thank you, Chad. Again, we're going to be having a short break here. I'm going to be enjoying the rest of this match from the comfort of Twitch chat. So be sure to cheer on whoever you want. I know I am a fan of Game 3's overall. That just gives more Ori content. So I'll be cheering for
Hell
Dedew.
yeah.
And we'll see what happens in Game 2 coming up.
Welcome back to Ronny versus Dedew semifinal action in the Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills Tournament 2022. My friend was bragging that his 3D printer can print a gun, but I wasn't impressed. I had a Canon printer for years. Joined by Lion Almanar on commentary. Ronny taking game one match away from advancing on to face Rin in the grand finals, and Ronny putting on the performance of the tournament with a 27:46, fastest in the tournament. Dedew is going to be in tough for game number 2, Lion.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really, really good run there from Ronny in that last match. Like I just said, the best race so far in the tournament bracket stage. While Rin did have 1:27 slightly faster, it's still in the actual bracket stage, and recently it's the best run we've seen so far. So definitely will be very tough for Dedew to be able to bring this back. If Ronny keeps playing like that, it might be impossible.
Yeah, and Dedew, to his credit, performed the best of his tournament life so far as well, posting a 29-10 in game number 1. Ronny just not giving any leeway at all to Dedew, so he's gonna have to play well, and Ronny's gonna have to make some mistakes. That's pretty much what it comes down to. A reminder that the grand finals are already scheduled. We are going to be doing those next weekend. It's going to be on the Sunday, a week from today, and it's going to be Rin versus whoever wins this one. Bronze match may occur if both runners are feeling up for it, so we'll keep you posted on whether or not that's going to go down. I don't know if Lester has said whether or not he's willing to do it after the loss this morning, so we'll figure that out as we go. Countdown clock is on for the runners. We shall be getting going momentarily. And yeah, that's about it. So just some points of notes for runner strats. If you are just joining us, we are going to be seeing 4 HP from Dedew, 3 HP from Ronny, undoubtedly, unless he feels like he wants to have a little bit of safety health, being up one game. Otherwise, he will be going 3 HP. Sea Juggle for Ronny and Dedew is going to be doing Terror Break. Both runners do Magnetless Frunky Walk. And I don't think either runner goes for Game Storage at Ginzo. And Dedew actually did not go for Blind Movement as well in Black Route, which was fairly interesting. A lot of runners at that level tend to, but might just not be feeling comfortable with it for a race setting. And of course, if you don't catch the fall into the pit in time, then you end up losing probably 8 years by having to reload a backup save and get going on that one again. So don't blame him at all if he is not comfortable for that.
And definitely something I wanted to is that even though you're saying Ronny goes for 3 HP, it's something that he's been really, really consistent with, especially going for a lot of these really very difficult and high level strats, but he's still been able to do them very, very well, and has been able to get actually with some of the safety saves he's been placing in the late game, been able to still consistently get really top times and not been taking a lot of these deaths, which are normally the risks of going for these faster strats as we're off into glades.
Yeah, and credit to both runners. They've been busy. Dedew's been on exam, so he hasn't played since his match against Infinite. Ronny's been fairly busy as well, hasn't been practicing a whole lot, and both of these runners are pulling out excellent times. So that just goes to show, how sharp they are, even with some rust, and that makes them both extremely scary. Despite taking the first game off of Dedew there, Ronny definitely knows that a minute separation is nothing to sneeze at between both of them, and one big death, and all of a sudden Dedew has a shot at evening up this series. So you're going to be picking up Sign, first of the 11 skills that you're going to be grabbing throughout the run, which will hopefully happen in 29 minutes or less.
Now we've got the first skills. We're moving to the Froggy Walk. Very technical section, but a bit of a trouble with the last shot for Dedew, so not a bit of an early lead for Ronny, but once again, it's glades. It's not that big of a deal for now.
Oh yeah, animation stacks, or not getting animation stacks can easily even this up.
Yep, and we'll see that coming up in just a second if we do that. Both get an animation on the platform Dedew just not quite getting the XP, Red and Ronny getting the health drop animation. So still though, Ronny does have a bit of a lead for now.
Damage boost off the slime. Dedew's setting up for the Ghost Door, as well as Ronny. Quick flash of the UI to double check where his health was at. Of course, UI off. That skips all the dialogue in the game, making all the languages in the video game the fastest language to play on, which is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about playing in a language that you're not familiar with if you don't want to. And 208 Ghost Door for Ronny, about 2 seconds difference. As Dedew is going to be behind. And yep, Ronny's going to be sticking to 3 HP, heading immediately off to the left. So we're going to see roughly 8 seconds here for Dedew sitting behind. That evens up later on, of course, because Ronny's going to have to grab the Horrorfield's health cell. Dedew will not. But yeah, so total 4 seconds, but for now it's 8. Because everything is 8.
Yes, exactly. Everything is 8. And for now, other thing that's pretty close to 8 is the XP Ronny needs to level up, so he's going to make sure that he gets enough XP here so that he can get the level up in the quick position. Greatest movement, but he's still going to get the flower skip going down here, and Dedew will be coming up on that just in a bit, as Ronny's going to be coming down here, getting a very fast time down to wall jump, which is expected with the lack of 4 HP.
Yep. Dedew clean on the flower skip, does not bonk into the Trojan log on the way down, so a little bit of time on Ronny for that. Might see, elimination match nerves from Ronny. I mean, that's definitely a thing. Some people have more confidence when they have the lead, and the others are feeling a little bit more nervous, a little bit more pressure to try and close it out. So may or may not see that coming from Ronny. Of course, these small things in the early game aren't going to have too much of an impact, but we'll see how that goes. Gets the XP off of the flower, jumping up, getting the level up, and he is clean on through. Trojan log behaves on the way back up, which is good news for Ronny. And he's going to be heading off to Blackroot. Experience management, good for Dedew as well, but just misses the platform. Jumped a little bit early off the wall, losing a couple seconds there. Going to be heading into Blackroot. Laser cycles, 8-second cycles. Get on your bicycles or tricycles and enjoy.
Yeah, and I was thinking about a 9 to 10 second difference at wall jump, which is mostly the effect of the health cell gathering, and this slight a bit of a better movement from the start by Ronny, but a few mistakes leaving for Dedew, so it would be a bit of an extra there from Ronny, but we're now going to be making our way into Blackroot. Dedew placing another little safety save there at the end, as we're going to be leveling up an ability to skip this cutscene. Likely we're going to see Quick Flame here from Ronny and from Dedew as well in a second as we go into Blackroot Burrows.
Yes, indeed. Both doing magnetless Frankie Walk. Blackroot very dangerous, of course, in particular for Ronny, who's on 3 HP. If he does flub onto the spikes in the orb room, it will be a death. We do expect him to place a safety save here right after killing the slime, however, and yep, there it is. So even if he does drop down, it won't cost him too much time, but it is something to be aware of, grabbing the orb and dropping it, because afterwards the orb will float on towards you. We know that neither runner goes for pause float strat, so going to be grabbing this 100 XP orb right here. Safety save from Dedew as well. Ronny grabbing the XP and is going to be heading off down into the Lantern room. XP kind of trolling him a bit there again. We saw that in race number 1 as it fell down into the spikes. He had to pause and kill a slam on the way out of Blackroot. To me, XP was better heading into Blackroot this time, however, so I don't think we'll anticipate that. Yeah, he looks pretty good. He can possibly, if he wants to, kill the slime here on the way up to this final lantern, right onto the, you see the wall there, left side of your screen, and yep, looks like that's what he's going to do, grab at least a little bit of that XP. Yep, gets all of it, that's 12. Now his XP is good and set up for Frankie Walk. Did get the fast cycle there on the lasers, by the way, as Dedew does not go for that, I don't believe, just takes the 8 or so seconds there, and ooh, has to dodge the slime shot, and nicely done jumping out over the pit of doom there for a second, but does manage to elude it and safely land it back on the floating platform. Also kills the slime, getting the XP, and we will be setting up now for our cutscene stacks.
We'll see cutscene stacks in just a second, but I wanted to also point out that both runners, I like that they both are going to get the XP from the top slime, because with magnetless it can still be a bit difficult, especially if the Frankie decides to not give you the good nice XP drops So it's nice that both of them make sure they have just that bit of extra security, even though they don't technically need it. Make sure that they have enough XP and aren't going to have any chance of failing Frankie Walk, as Ronny is now going to be getting this, does get the setup, and hopefully going to be able to get the blind movement here first try, and not fall in the pit. And looks like he does do that, and this time obviously not going to have to stop for an extra slime, but then will just be going straight for Frankie Walk, as Dedew is going for the reload, and is going to be going for his blind movement here.
Yep, little difference in shots there. The SA from Ronny onto the pedestal, whereas Dedew sets up for the rekindle skip there. Is going for the blind movement this time. Gets ramped down. We'll see whether or not that comes back and punishes him. Doesn't look like it is yet. He is over cleanly and dropping down through the platform. So Dedew playing a little bit more aggressive here so far in game 2. See whether or not that continues as the race advances on through. Billy is on a leash and walking towards the Grotto energy door. Oh, he's got a chair! Ronny sent back to Blackroot, and Dedew suddenly in the lead here, heading over to Grotto.
Yeah, and this really rough death, especially since when you're walking the Frankie over here, even though you did just get dashed, you still have to make sure Frankie walks slowly behind you, so then you have, especially if you die here, you have to sit there and think about how you just died to the Frankie once again, and now, though Dedew does hopefully get enough XP, the XP is going to barely be able to get up, so he will be able to get through the door, as Ronny is going to be attempting this in just a second for the second try, as Dedew is making his way through Death Gauntlet. Quick Flames pretty quickly, and will be able to make it through.
Sitting on 2 HP here through Death Gauntlet does not go for Death Glide. I do respect that. The kill is good for Ronny, but the XP is away, and he's got to reload, take a death here on the spikes. That is 2 deaths to Frankie Walk for Ronny. This is Dedew's chance. This is exactly what the French runner needed. Getting God Cycle 2 on the way to double jump. That's what he needs in order to be able to steal a game off of Ronny, is a little bit of spaghetti, and 2 Frankie Walk failures is big news here in the early game. As you alluded to, Line, he's got to sit and watch this Frankie for 45-ish seconds, I think, and it's just a massive amount of time. We'll get the actual delta as the runners both connect on double jump. Looks like Dedew is going to be hitting at 9:07.
Yeah, and blind movement here for Dedew. Gonna be using just to be able to get out here, and Ronny now we're gonna see he's going for a bit of a safer strat here, and will be able to get it this time. As very, very good run so far from Dedew, only about 2 seconds behind his PB now at double jump. So very good run from him, as Ronny did take with the 2 deaths, but he did get it the 3rd try, and I like the bit of a safer strat this time. He's going to try to make sure that he doesn't lose any more time there, and now he's going to be making his way down to double jump tree, as Dedew is making his way out, does get the back jump there, and he'll be climbing up the top.
Dedew was a fake French person last run, so he actually spent a couple seconds making sure he was genuine French in this run. I love it so much. Okay, so Ronny's through. You like to see it. Those are 2 very rough deaths from Ronny in the early going, but Dedew with a fairly comfortable lead. Already, probably going to be about a minute and a half here for Dedew. And Dedew, by the way, is only 2 seconds behind PB as of double jump. And yeah, it looks like Ronny's going to be touching this at about 10:23, which is a delta of doing math on stream is difficult. 1:15, I believe. Between the runners,
right,
so
something like that. Yep, and now both of them are going to be climbing out of here, but Dedew, as you said, over a minute of a lead here. He's to be making his way up through these difficult walls and climb to the top, and yeah, get his way into Ginso, and for Dedew now, he's got this lead, but makes just to try to make sure that he can hold on to this lead as much as he can, because Ronny is still, as overall, especially with the last run, had some better movement, better times than the last run, so we'll see if he can be able to just naturally catch up in the later parts of this run, or if Dedew can keep this lead and all the way through the late game.
Yeah, I would say Dedew can afford a couple small mistakes, maybe to the total of about 15-20 seconds or so. His average time is 50 seconds faster than Ronny's average time, so With a minute and 16, second lead. Thank you, Skull. Dedew's got a little bit of breathing room here, but Ronnie's definitely capable of turning on the jets and just firing his way back into this race. It's going to be a close one. Dedew's going to have to play extremely well. Any mistakes that he makes, Ronnie is 100% going to be able to capitalize on. But you have to wonder about Ronnie's mentality after those two early Frankie Wild deaths. So far, he's been playing pretty smoothly since then, but it can definitely weigh on you if you let it. So we'll see whether or not that ends up being the case. Looks like a couple little bits of spaghetti here on the flower pads as well. Might be, in fact, the case for Ronnie, but doesn't lose a whole lot of time off of that. Pretty easy to shake off small little mistakes like that, but it adds up, and the Dedew is definitely capable of closing this one out and taking the win, and not being able to get the dash through there into the teleporter. The rock is just kind of far to the right. I wasn't sure if he was actually able to get through, but he does. Does bleed a couple seconds to that as well. Had to wait for the spinner. Didn't want to dash into it and take a death, so Ronnie losing a little bit of time here, probably, actually, to Dedew, who's entered Ginzo, was pretty clean.
Yeah, just a few small mistakes from Dedew, especially with the trying to make sure he gets back at jump. Most of the mistakes that he made in that Ginzo split, which is still very difficult as in the mini boss room, so still over a minute difference, as it takes about that much time to get into here. And so definitely still a bit of a lead here for Dedew, and especially though that we expect time difference is about 7 seconds less than minute 9, but a lot of that is from the health cell, extra health cell, or ability cell that he had to pick up because of the Terror Break route that Ronnie was able to skip. So pretty much staying about the same for time aside from that one route difference.
Yeah, very heads up awareness on health for Ronnie, placing an extra save there in the gamer room to get back to health management numbers that he is used to. That is going to be a 1341 bash for Dedew as Ron is into the puzzle room. And Dedew almost got the 3 cycle, so opportunity for Ron to catch up because Dedew did get the 4, and Ronnie can possibly get the 3 here. Was trolled in the last race with a right side spawn. We'll see how it is this time. Shot patterns are looking pretty good for cycle number 1. And slow spawn on number 2, but looking all right. Oh, missed a shot there. That's going to be 4 cycle here for Ronnie, so not able to take advantage of that. Heading in towards the bash tree. Key dupe, meanwhile, right side for Dedew, setting up for that. Getting the bash angle as he desires very quickly, too. Dropping the keys into the door and using the iframes to climb up the wall. Very nicely done from Dedew. Now has to finish up this section, grabbing the 4th keystone on the way up for setting up for the ghost store, going for the hyperspeed setup with the quick dash, and it does get it into the 2nd mini-boss. XP, I think Dedew got all the XP he needed from the 1st mini-boss, so can afford to miss one here. Not a big deal. 1448 is the bash time for Ron, and we'll get an update. I did not actually take a note of what I said Dedew's time was, so Chuck will help us out, I hope, in a moment, as Ronnie's heading towards Kidup and Dedew's heading towards Swamp Entry.
And so it was a 1341 minute, or 1341, 1342, about a 1 minute 6 second difference. So we see Ronnie just picking up just a tiny bit, even with not getting that 4 cycle on the mini boss. Still just slightly better movement, which is kind of what we expect overall. Just aside from that, those mistakes, Frankie Ronnie is still making up some time back, and is just probably going to be slowly only find that lead as Sled there on the climb of that spike wall, but does get the backup and do not take a death as Dedew's in for Swamp Entry now on the right side. And I hope
he does end up taking damage off of Ringo as he's setting up for the bash. So he's got to be careful with this shot, otherwise it will kill him. Does get it through. Also needs to be a little bit careful with that Rhino. Does get the bash out early enough to avoid taking damage, and he is through. Ooh, Ronnie trolled on the XP on the 2nd mini-boss here. He's standing on the edge taking a look at it. I'm not too sure what backup he goes for in this particular situation, but I'm sure he will manage that. But it's probably going to cost him just a little bit of time as well as to do on 1 HP. He has to be careful with the weave around the spikes here to Stomp Tree, and does manage it and gets the health refill off of the cutscene. 16-17 the time for Dedew at Stomp. Ronny is going to be heading in the meantime into Swamp Entry himself, has not made a mistake on this trick so far, does opt to go for the blind movement here off of the Rekindle skip, which at this point he kind of needs to do. Dedew is playing well enough for sure to keep that minute separation as being enough to close out the win here, and Dedew probably doesn't yet know that he's ahead of Ron. At this juncture, I believe the first time Dedew is going to be taking a look at the stream is going to be at Feather. So it'll be interesting to see how Dedew responds once he knows exactly where he is. But very cleanly executed Swamp Entry from Ronny with that blind movement. That is... Oh, drops the double bash, though, on the Mortar Shark because Water Shaders suck. And will he get trolled again? No, he gets up there and does the damage boost strat to avoid having to do a second... another double bash to get over cleanly without taking damage. So unfortunate time loss that was kind of out of Ronny's hands there, to be honest, but he does manage to get through and avoid it from being a big drop. 104 is the separation at Stomp between the runners.
Yeah, so just still Ronny keeping up, just tiny bit coming back here, and Dedew now though is just about to make his way to the Seaflame tree. So definitely still, you can tell a big lead here, but definitely not something that is insurmountable for Ronny for sure. If there's a mistake to do later, definitely could come back, and we'll see. Maybe Dedew, I feel a bit nervous, especially since he is still very close to his PV, and if he looks at Feather and realizes he's a minute ahead, might come and get feeling a bit nervous, as Ronny unfortunately not quite gonna be able to make it there with the Kuro cutscene skip, but has a hyperspeed on the save, so he's not going to lose him much time and will get it a second try.
Yeah, but Dedew is good enough to hold on to this lead with small little mistakes like that, and that's going to cost, I believe it's about 6 seconds total. Does take a dip in the water as well, but manages to get out in time to bash off of the slime bramble type thing over there, placing the safety save as well, because he does go for this double bash into Stomp Bash trick to break the wall. We'll see how he performs that. His Bird boss is approaching for Dedew on the right side. Bird is not a boss. Oh, Ronny whiffed on the strat the first time, tried to back it up by setting the double bash over to the right and doing it again, but did not get it, and will bleed a few more seconds there. I believe he's actually going to be losing time to do on this split for the first time since Frankie Walk, basically. Ronny has been catching up a couple seconds here and there, but I believe he's going to be about a minute 16 or so behind Dedew at this point at Seaflame. We'll have to see. I would imagine, to your point there, Lion, I was going to say, with Dedew being just 6 seconds behind PB, he might not even actually look at the restream. He might be thinking about just continuing to play well.
Yeah, and this is a very, very good time for Dedew. That is potentially time for a either 27 or just a low 28 with a very good late game. So definitely look out for that on his side. It's definitely possible that he gets a good run. Something I wanted to highlight here on Ronny's side is that he hasn't quite leveled up the level he'd normally get just before Stomp Tree, as he hasn't gotten that level up yet. So he's going to be able to actually place an extra save here and get an extra energy from the slime, and just a little bit to potentially save some time on this level up. He's still going to go and pick this energy up though, and just he's going to not actually going to be leveling up there. He's going to do it now. He's gonna remember now, and just wanted to make sure that he had that safety save there. So, still gonna get that level up, and it means that he has enough energy now, and will be able to move on, as Dedew has gotten very cleanly into Sorrow and is now at the charge jump tree.
Yeah, Ronny has lost about 23 seconds between Stomp and Seaflame to Dedew as he heads up for Stompless. They have a bit of trouble with this in race number 1, but it looks clean here in race number 2. Does smash Stompless, and Kuro flies away, dropping down the feather as Dedew gets the Terror Break, and he is up through Laser Cycle. I could not see it very cleanly whether or not he was on a good cycle here. He might have to feather on the way down. Not too sure yet. Dedew's still 5 seconds behind PB. So might indeed just decide to not look at the stream at all. Definitely in a good position here to set up for a game 3 at this point in the run, as you are about a minute and a half ahead at Feather. there is not a lot of room left for Ron to catch up here, as he takes a death on Sorrowbash as well, losing even more time. Has to go back from the feather save down to do the rocket jump and set up again. Did not save at the energy crystal there. To the left side of your screen, setting up Sorrowbash. Now he is cleanly through. I gotta say, I am impressed by Ron with the mistakes that he's had here. He just goes and recovers immediately afterwards, and that is extremely difficult to do mentally in a game of this difficulty and this caliber, for him to be able to just shake it off and immediately continue on as he is performing Sea Juggle so far flawlessly. Definitely hats off to Ron. Dedew on 4 HP already in Misty, as Sea Juggle is successful for Ronny. Dedew does take damage off the spikes, same spikes he took damage off before, does place an extra safety save. Does mean he's not going to have energy for a bit, might stop to break this crystal, and yes, that's exactly what he's going to do. Does have Magnet now to bring that in onto him. Will not be going for the rekindle skip here because he wants to save that energy for some charge dash bash cancels.
Yeah, like this extra bit of safety here from Dedew. He's gonna realize to take damage, so decided to place the save slightly early, meaning that there's just no risk that he would take a death there at all, even though it loses just a tiny bit of time since he doesn't quite get the cutscene skip, and wants to save the energy so that he can still use the energy later, which means those strats are a bit easier getting to Climb Tree, and does successfully do that. Maybe not quite as fast as he would have liked, but still a very good time, as Ronny unfortunately takes a death there, places the keys in the door, but not quite able to get to the end, and we'll have to redo this one more time, as he was now in the back of Misty, and 11 seconds behind his PB, but definitely has time save on his PB in the late game, so we're going to see if he can bring that back and potentially still get a low 28 and close out this race with a win and maybe potentially PB as well.
Yeah, Ronny was going for the corner save there off of the mid-air dash, dropping right on the corner and getting the save down, but he was on the wrong side of the corner. Unfortunately, the save didn't go. Didn't recognize it in time and dashed back into the tasty, spicy Doritos, unfortunately taking a death. Is going to be a little bit further behind. Even still, he's giving Dedew the room, the breathing room that he needs to be able to close this out and force a game 3. No safety save from Dedew heading into the mini-boss here in Misty, which normally isn't a problem, but sometimes can be. This time it is just fine and dandy, as Ronny is entering Misty now. And on 3 HP, any death here is, any damage here rather, is a death. Getting the stomp cancel right before the slime, very nicely done. Did not have to get the stomp cancel there on the Mortar Shark, had to do it in game 1. Just showing off some of his execution level there. A little bit of a bonk onto the flower pad, but no big deal for Dedew. He's at the teleporter and on the way through towards Grenade, as Ron gets the rekindle skip on Atsu's torch and is going to be heading off to climb. Ooh, takes a death there though. It's a very short one, thanks to that rekindle skip. I mentioned that in the first race. Figuring out that rekindle skip saves time also actually adds safety, and paying off for Ronny there.
And Dedew now is making his way into lower backer burrows, and will hopefully be able to not take any deaths here, and still definitely has to make he'll up this race and make it into a low 28 for sure, and to get through these last 2 splits and really be able to surround his run. He's still having a bit of extra troubles on the left side and taking another death. This race at this point is most definitely Dedew's race to lose.
Yeah, 100%. I was talking about it, earlier on as Ronny was heading into the Swamp entry. If you're just joining us, Ronny had a couple of Frankie walk deaths early on in this race, losing about a minute and a half to do. Was able to recover some of that, but did question sort of where his mental state was going to be after that, and it looked like he was fine for a while, but it seems like he's a little bit on tilt here so far in game 2, which is understandable. That's not deaths that you want to take in a race situation for sure, but is looking pretty good here now in the second half of Misty after a short early death. Almost chews on some meatballs, but decides that he will save supper for later, as Dedew is pausing at the Grove Tree because he missed the stomp cancel. Actually went a little bit too far, but that's okay. On the way to Horror Fields, I don't know whether or not he goes for this grenade jump. Looks like he does. Doesn't quite get the position he wants on the first attempt. Second attempt is good. Terra jump up into the dash, onto the platform, and over to Mount Horo. Will Door Warp claim a victim, or will he get it first try like he did in race number 1? We will find out momentarily. 28 1x pace at Grenade for Dedew, by the way.
Yeah, and definitely still here would need with his or time would need about a 147, 148 time to get a PB here, but unfortunately not quite going to get Door Warp first try. Does get a second try, so still might be able to get it done here with a very, very good escape. Definitely still possible, but not going to be able to go actually here for Warm Skip. Just going to play it safe here, so probably not going to be able to get the PB now, and we'll just be focusing here on closing out the race. Especially with that missed door, might have just thought that it would be possible and just going to instead just make sure that he can close out this race.
Yeah, and the dude's probably having a bit of a laugh at that. It's like you're within PB opportunity, but you gotta like gold the last couple, and you missed door warp. And like, okay, well, whatever. I'm just gonna finish it out. And he's in the final escape now, on his way to do just that, floating over the fire, and pausing for fish position. I forget what I called that first fish. Second fish is Jeremy. Was it? I think it was Miriam. First fish is Miriam. Second one is Jeremy. All right, there we go. High position grenade jump for Dedew. Does not get it on the first attempt, but does get it on the second attempt. No soft lock, and Ori is walking to the right, so he did get the cutscene. GG for Dedew. Coming back after a couple Frankie Walk deaths from Ronny. Dedew takes advantage, closes it out. We get a 1-1 series. And we're all tied up. We're going to best of 1 as soon as Ronny finishes this out.
Yeah,
exciting stuff.
Yeah, this looks like round of 28-30 through 28-31 here will be Dedew's final time. Going for the hops, actually, so we'll be losing just about another second or two, but 28-32 will be Dedew's final time. So just about 12 seconds behind PB. Still an incredible run from Dedew, and we'll see if close it out in the game 3, or if Ronny will be able to make it back in this match. Is will likely finish with around a high 30, mid to high 30 for Ronny, as he's now in Horu. Like a door up first try, so definitely still decent run from him despite all the mistakes. They're definitely rough run as well, but with those deaths at the start, it's made it very difficult to get a good run. So definitely good run to still finish out. Even a 30 is still a very good time, especially with 2 deaths at Frankie Walk and start a run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. We'd just like to point out that Dedew's fastest time of the tournament was a 29:10 in game 1, and then he beats that by 42 seconds in game 2, doing exactly what he needed to even out this series. As Ron stomps down and gets Miriam, then Jeremy. Very nicely done into the Kuro trigger skip, and a little bit of a whiff there on the wall. That's alright, setting up for the grenade jump, making sure he does not have climb storage, and is through. GG to Ronny. That is going to be in the low 30s, as you mentioned. I think 2x, something like that. And yeah, we're going to be getting game 3, hashtag team game 3 in ye old chat. Lion, I appreciate you, sir, being here with me. It's been a pleasure commentating with you, and looking forward to you and 2Kill taking the reins in game 3.
Well, it should be an exciting match for sure for game 3. I want to point out, so every match so far in the tournament that has been the 2 seeded, where the 2 runners have been 1 seed apart, 16th versus 17th, 8th versus 9th, and 5th versus 4th, so far have been an upset. The lower seed has won every one of those matches, and so maybe Dedew will be able to keep that streak, or maybe Ronny will be able to break that streak here in game 3. We'll see in just around a 10-minute break.
All right, see you then.
Welcome back, everyone, to match number 3 of this semifinal. It's the final match of the semifinal. It's the final match of this weekend. Game number 5 out of 5 for today. And it's game 3 between Dedew and Ronny, seed number 2 versus seed number 3. It's definitely going to be an exciting one. First match, Ronny had a very good time with a 27. But unfortunately wasn't quite able to get that good in the second race, as Dedew finished just about 12 seconds off his PB with a 28.32, taking the win in game number 2, as we're going to be moving into game number 3 now. I just wanted to note once again, as I said at the end of the last race, every single match so far in this tournament has been the differential of 1, so 16th versus 17th, 8th versus 9th, and 4th versus 5th. The lower seed has won, so we'll see if that does happen in this game as well. As I'm joined in this race by 2Kill on commentary. How you doing for this one?
I am very excited with the 2 matches we've seen. We've kind of seen 2 different play styles. Ronny maybe going for the riskier style that lost him the second match, and Dedew being just consistent as ever, just getting good times over the board. And yeah, it will be very interesting to see which will reign superior in game number 3. And as you mentioned, whenever 2 subsequent numbers played against each other, the lower seed has won, so maybe Math is on Dedew's side, but of course Math could also just be on Ronny's side, as he has the higher seed, and we will have to see. But yeah, we are going to see fairly soon, and like, as you mentioned, these times have been crazy, so what do you think? Will either run a PB this run?
I mean, it's definitely possible for sure. In the first match, Ronny in the early game was very, very close to his PB with he was like around just a few seconds off at Bash, and like definitely still PB possible at Stomp. And whereas Dedew in the second race was definitely had PB potential going into Haru, but with miss on Dorp, just wanted to make sure that he played it safe. So definitely we've seen that both runners in this match so far do have the potential. So we see if they choose to go for it, choose to get their PB. But we'll see if they do get the PB, or if either realizes that they're far enough ahead and they just want to make sure they can take the safety just to get the win and make it into the final.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to see how people adjust their strategies for a best of 3, and especially for like something like the semifinals, where Dedew might feel a bit behind compared to his opponent in terms of skill, but might feel superior in terms of safety, as we saw in game 2. But with that, we have a 30-second warning before the race starts, so on to the more important question. Will we see OG energy in Glades?
I mean, there's 10% chance that you either drop at every single pickup. So if you count all the pickups that they would be potentially getting in Glades, I think it's probably there's a decent chance that we'll see at least one energy drop at some point. Although whether they'll have to pick it up or not, I don't know. But I predict that we'll see at least one energy. I think that's the most likely probability here.
Yeah, I would even go as far and predict that one of them will even pick it up. But with that, both runners have successfully skipped 10 minutes of a very sad pre-story to this game, and can now hop towards sign synchronized hopping action now over the water. No one skinny dipping right here, no one getting the blast by the water, just straight up going for the rhino and towards sign. Of course, no advantage on either side just yet, but the run is long and stuff can happen, as we saw in the early runs. And I've heard from our restreamer Apple that Ronny has maybe practiced some Frunky Walk in between games.
And so after missing that trick twice, and sometimes it can be frustrating. You want to make sure that he's just like feeling confident with the strat that he made mistakes on, and really cost him most of the time in the start of the race. And even if he did lose other time later, it was kind of the catalyst that caused that to happen and caused him to really like maybe frustrated and lose time. And we do see one energy drop there from Dedew, so already got at least one. We'll see if we get any more.
Yeah, energy dropping is always a thing, just energy collecting isn't necessarily always a thing, because you don't have... Well, you can avoid most of the pickups, realistically, but with that we are onto the first keystone door, or at least approaching the keystones. Well, we have seen in the last 2 runs that, well, Ronny is fairly fast. It has shown in the second run that he might not be able to bounce back from mistakes when they happen as easily. Whereas the dude just showed that, well, he's fairly consistent with his strats, and he's mentioned before that his strats are kind of always tournament safe because that's just the route he does, right? So it will be interesting to see how many mistakes happen on either side and how our runners react to it. As we see the 4th health cell on Dedew's side, Ronny's still sticking with the 3 health, which can be quite risky.
Yeah, but especially if it's the strat that he's used to doing, it can be more comfortable and could potentially even be harder to go for the 4 HP from him because there's some setups later, especially in Ginso, with your health that might make it a bit more difficult to not go for that. So we'll see. We will have a lead here, but most of that is due to the health cell, so we'll see what the total difference is at wall jump and how much he has gained with that health cell.
Yeah, of course that time save is only temporarily because we still need 5 HP to complete the game. But for now we can see that Ronny is about 1 slow walk before Dedew, so slightly ahead with a 309 here at wall jump tree. And pretty decent time. We will see if he can hold that about 10-second advantage over Dedew in the course of Blackroot Burrows, which is very easily known to lose you 8 seconds everywhere.
Yeah, and the more important thing that we saw here in Glades was, I believe there was a total of 3 energy drops. Ronny had gotten 1 and you got 2, so clearly superior with the extra energy drop. But we'll see now. Ronny still has that around 10-second lead from wall jump, 8 seconds about of which are from the health cell that he didn't get. 4 seconds we'll have to take later to get another health cell. But now we'll be looking to be in the lead for at least the next while as they make their way right down to the RP. These more things. I don't think we've seen energy drops here, but figure it out. We'll see if we get more later. The energy drops can be very nice, but for now it's basically completely useless because I can't really save anyway because they only have 1 or 2.
Yeah, unfortunately not that helpful. But we are moving into Blackroot Burrows, and both runners are going the magnetless route, I believe, so we will see Quick Flame on both sides. Yeah, and that will allow just for quicker stuff. That is one of the little things that the 2 runners have in common in terms of route. We will see Sea Juggle on Ronny's side, as in the games before, and Terra Break on the side of Dedew. But it is very interesting to see that Dedew has managed to get a hold of such a good time as he does with kind of the quote-unquote, well, not quote-unquote, just slower strats. Just being able to pull off that consistency that he has shown. So we'll see if that prevails. But for now, Ronny maintaining that lead. Oh, no! Drops into spikes, but okay, catches himself. Everything's fine. Gonna take safety safe in front of lasers. Gonna play it safe. But that definitely allowed Dedew to catch up at least a bit.
Yeah, because with that, Ronny knows you won't be able to get the platform cycle, so we'll be losing some time there. We'll see Dedew early, not quite be able to get it, just linked in, knock that. Though he won't get the platform cycle either, so not much of a difference there in the end. If he had gone just a tiny bit faster, might have gotten the platform cycle, but you never know, it might have also died, so I'm going to make sure that it can be as safe as he can, especially to make sure that it doesn't take an extra death.
Yeah. Deaths definitely don't save you time, they rather lose you the time. But with that, both are almost done with Blackroot Burrows, almost done with the dreaded auto-scrollers, everyone's favorite area, as Ronny is dropping the orb, doing some little dances to pass the time. You easily get bored on those platforms, so being able to hold the concentration and continuing as, yeah, we are going to get I think the same kind of cutscene stack for both runners, so save near the dash tree, take a save anywhere to skip the cutscene, then rekindle and jump into the right position. So hopefully if everything goes right, Ronny will collect the tree and do some blind movement and hopefully not drop into the BRB pit.
Yeah, so just a tiny bit of a different strat there from Dedew and Ronny to just waiting for the orb drop and it's going to carry the orb over to the right. So just a tiny bit slower, but just more safe because so that there's no chance that it will miss the cutscene stack. We'll still be getting out of here. So Ronny is going to be ahead here, but we're now into Frankie Walk. Remember, Ronny last race did miss Frankie Walk twice, so we're really make sure that he can try his best to not take a death here and not lose extra time on Frankie Walk 2, which would not be good for Ronny, especially since he did it the last race, and especially if he does it this race again, it could be frustrating. He's still going to be going for a strat and will be able to get Frankie Walk done this time. Does get the level up and the XP, and is now in the Death Gauntlet. Still not easy from here on out, but it's going to make sure that he doesn't take a death as Dedew is about to come up to Frankie Walk himself now. Still also very difficult as neither runner does have Magnet. Dedew is going to play it safe and will be getting it, waiting one more extra cycle, and does get enough XP to get the level up as well as Ronny is through. Dedew into Death Gauntlet.
And Dedew getting a health drop in the water, almost dashing into that bramble, but gets through as well. As an update on the time difference, we had a time difference of about 16 seconds at dash 3, so Ronny even got a lead, improved his lead by 6 seconds, so that drop into spikes, no problem at all, made it all up and even gained some. So really showing off right here and showing that he has the better movement. As Dedew also misses the God Cycle. Oh no, another 8 seconds lost on that time. But with that, Ronny is now at double jump tree and is going to do some blind movement.
Both runners are going to be doing the blind movement here as we leave double jump tree so they can save some time and not have to watch the whole cutscene. And as Ronny leaves, Dedew is going to be entering this area, getting a high five as they pass by, and lead is increased just a tiny bit as now Dedew did get out cycles, so it's just some more time lost on Ron's just good. It's like building, but just a slight lead just from movement. As unfortunately takes a fall there. Walls are very difficult to climb in Grotto, and not quite going to be able to get the Grotto skip, but does get the next try. So still time from Ronny. Gonna go for Beckett jump, doesn't get it, does kill the energy crystal though, but gets its second try.
Yeah, no true baguette here. Of course, with the crystal destroyed, it is easier to do, so no French citizenship. Let's see if Dedew earns it after that first try grotto skip. Yep, first try baguette jump with the crystal intact. Dedew showing once again that he is a true French. And with that, has caught up quite some time by just being able to jump on the walls a bit easier than Ronny has. But regardless, Ronny's still in the lead, still hopping away from him right here. But there's a lot of run left to go, a lot of hard tricks. And yeah, we see a really close race so far.
Especially still definitely very close even with this lead, as we saw Ronny had a few mistakes or skip that Dedew didn't make and just really get a bit of time back there. And small things like that can definitely add up, and definitely, especially if Ronny makes up some extra time and takes some deaths later, that costs him a lot of time. Dedew can definitely take a lead here. Magic this race, but we'll see it now. As you see Ronny skipping this village cell like he did in the first 2 games. Dedew is going to be having just going to be a bit more time lost there for Dedew, and bring Ronny's lead just a slight bit higher. The difference in strats between Terror Break and Crazy Juggle.
Yeah, of course, that will also only be a temporary lead for Ronny, as this strat mostly saves the time you gain from not getting that ability cell. But for now, we are heading towards Ginso Tree, also very famous for its double jumps, so let's see if everything goes well. Those walls are all very slippery, and those swings can swing not quite in your favor, but Ronny making it look easy. No problem with the first room. Can try and get the fast cycle in the second room. It does look like he is going for it. And yeah, that was a flawless second room.
Yeah, just like the extra safety save that Ronny does place there at the start as well. It said that he will be looking at the race time and the restream at some point, so he will know. We'll know for sure that he's probably knows that he's ahead, or if not, probably feel that he's ahead, because this definitely is a very good time for Ronny. So just nice to be able to displace that extra safety there. So we'll see whether he can get that, and does Dedew unfortunately.
Oh! Okay, that was not as bad as a death as it looked like.
Because he had the extra safety save there, but just barely misjudged his health and wasn't quite able to take the damage boost that you normally take there. So only a small death there, not going to send Dedew back to the top, so or back to the bottom of the tree. So Ronny definitely building up a small lead here, but I believe 4 cycle there from the end. So we'll see whether Dedew's going to be able to do, if he can get that bit of time save as Ronny is about to make it to the bash tree.
Yeah, going to collect the keystones on the way and then head for the tree as Dedew is fighting the mini boss. Doesn't look like it will be a 3 cycle for him, but it should be a 4 cycle easily. Yep, 4 cycle and an energy drop, so can save, but his health is actually perfect for the next ghost door, so will not save here, but keep the energy for the door as Ronny has obtained his bash. And yeah, we will see how big the disadvantage is on Dedew's side. For now, Ronny just showing that he is the better player and capitalizing on that lead as Dedew takes the ghost door and is also now obtaining bash.
Ronny just has moved his way up to the top again, so, and definitely does still have a decent lead. Here we'll see what the exact lead is in a little bit, as Dedew is close behind, but still definitely for Ronny at just about 32 seconds is the final time difference. Is Ronny going for very difficult strat there with the damage boost to get the final keystone, doesn't quite get it, so we'll have to run back around, but the important part is that he doesn't take a death, so we'll not be losing a ton of time there, as Dedew is now into Dedew as well.
Yeah, Ronny is pretty much neck and neck still. Dedew doesn't quite get the correct angle, but gets in the keystones and can duplicate them just as Ronny is about to leave the tree behind and head towards stump entry. So yeah, pretty much one death in Misty or one failed attempt at swamp entry or any other trick is pretty much the difference between the runners. So either can still win, but Ronny does not seem to let the same mistakes happen that happened last race to him.
Yeah, it's definitely not quite as good of a time as Ronny's first run, but still definitely good enough for sure to have the lead here and to be able to eventually close out this race. So definitely maybe not the exactly like best pace that he's had or the best pace that he would exactly want, but still definitely pace for either high 27 or low 28 at this point. So good run, Ronny, and definitely still on the lead, but not a bad run to do either. Not and also not exactly the same run they had in the previous match, but still good run from him. And has not taken really any major deaths, just some small time losses here or there that has just lost him some time and caused him to fall behind, as he is going to go for the same double bash strat and the deep boost as Dedew unfortunately spring go into the water, and Frog just can't really swim, but still tries no matter what I say.
Yeah, and frogs are magnetic to water, if you didn't know, so unfortunately happened again to Dedew. But with that, we will see whether he succeeds the next time as Ronny is heading out, so kind of a bit of a high five for our runners. So try number 3 on the frog, gets it into position this time, and hopefully, as Ronny is juggling the frog again, double bash is looking good, so Dedew is into Swamp just as Ronny is about to hopefully not show us some lore.
Yeah, we'll see what their cutscene does get see. It did miss in the last race on the first try, but does get it this time, and will be able to make his way now down to Z-Flame and over towards the left side of the map as Dedew is about to make his way over to the Stomp Tree and get his next skill as Ronny placing a save. They're going to be still going for this really incredibly difficult double bash strat. Got it in the first race, not quite in the second race, but we'll see. Does get it this time, does get it this third race, so very, very difficult strat there, but does finish it off in this one. Gets back from missing it in the last time.
Yeah, definitely going to just fix all the mistakes he did in the last run. Maybe got a bit angry about what he did wrong and just wants to right it. But with that, he already has the ability point he would need, so no need to be killing a slime later in Valley. As Dedew also absolutely no problem getting up to the ability cell above Ringo. So also following behind. Now about one area between the two, just Hollow Grove, as Ronny is entering Valley and is going to approach his next tree with dash and air dash and all the upgrades. The run will get a bit faster for him for sure. So let's see if Dedew gets the cutscene skip. Yep, absolutely nothing to see here. I don't know why we even mention it every single race, but runners make it look easy.
Did have to reload there after missing it the first try, so lost a bit of time there, but still was confident enough to be able to get the second try, and is going for this double bash strat as well that Ronny did do. Not quite going to be able to get the third double bash there, so he's going to have to watch the cutscene in the end. Very, very difficult strat as Ronny is now in Valley, and is going to be making it the top, and going to be trying to go for his attempt at Fast Stompless. And now to do that charge flame tree as Ronny is about to get to his feather and he'll be able to get the shot done correctly. Very difficult trick, but he's still gonna be able to get it.
Yeah, it's just always amazing to see the shot just going and the people running and then magic, pretty much. As Ronny will collect his feather and Dedew just didn't watch the cutscene and is now heading into Valley as well, is following suit, is really not having any big troubles as well. It's just that Ronny is not letting him get any closer to him, not leaving any room for mistakes, as yeah, is now into Sorrow Bash. Hopefully can get this bird in the right position. Yeah, absolutely no trouble. Why is this trick even hard? But oh, Dedew, I did not know you could bash off that in the water, but gets towards Bird Boss now as well.
And now Ronny on the left is doing his C-juggle. Also, once again, another very difficult strat. We keep mentioning that, but it's because it's true. Many of these strats are very difficult, but players like Ronny are very experienced, so he's going to be trying to make sure that he doesn't hit this frog and does get it up to the top. So Ronny will be able to make his way up to Sunstone, and unfortunately, though, not quite going to be able to get the laser cycle perfectly, so we'll actually take a death there and have to go all the way back to the feather. Don't know exactly what was wrong with that, but just slightly off on the laser cycle, and we'll have to redo this.
Oh, that is definitely a big death, and oh, takes another death, so plenty of time for Dedew to catch back up. So we'll see, especially since Ronny had a bit of trouble getting back into the right mindset in his last run. Hopefully he can manage to do so this time and not repeatedly do the same mistakes, but for now looking good. Is back in Sorrow as Dedew is now into Sorrow Bash as well. So yeah, maybe 15 seconds between the runners right now. Definitely caught up a bit as Ronny has to set up for the crazy juggle again. It doesn't get easier the second time. And you can see the anger just in the charge dashes towards the frog. Gets up this time, hopefully. Yep, does go up smoothly, so now can obtain the Sunstone without trouble. So yeah, While Dedew will get to Charge Jump Tree first, Ronny will get Sunstone first. That's the slight route divergence between the two, but shouldn't be too long before they rejoin the same route in Misty. But safe anywhere action on both sides. That is always great to see when you can just see nothing on either side.
Yeah, we get to see this great ability menu and this nice rotating circle of experience orb, and sometimes a different ability, and maybe Ori in the background and some yellow spikes. But now on the left, we do see Ronny has been able to close that menu as he doesn't need it right now, and will be making his way to the charge jump tree. And still probably in the lead a bit, as floating all the way to the top onto the side is not that fast. The movement out of here is really fast for Ronny, but not going to be quite definitely as big of a lead as he had earlier with that one death to the laser. But Ronny's still in the lead here, as getting to Sunstone is very slow, as Sign wants to make sure that you know everything about this thing, and you have to wait for it to open up, and while you sit there and want to open the ability menu, and then they want to make you watch a 64-second cutscene, which obviously Dedew does not want to do, so he skips that and then leaves, but still a bit slower since Ronny had already done that. So Ronny is going to be the first one into Misty. Remember, Ronny only has 3 HP, and so if Ronny takes a death, he will go back to his last safety save. Didn't catch it, quick catch it. If he saves at this front at the start of Misty, but I believe he did, so definitely still very scary though. If Ronny takes any mistakes, he could go back to the start.
Yeah, everything deals 3 damage, the reason why 4 HP is so potent in this category. Dedew will not take lethal damage, but Ronny taking that safety save here at the cutscene skip. Didn't quite get the cutscene skip, but at least has the safety save, so it does not get sent all the way back. Dedew is just watching that cutscene, so 1 menuing saved here, and it's a difference of maybe 7-8 seconds between the runners right now. That is insanely close, especially this far into a run. So both runners are making their way to the next tree, and second half of Misty is definitely always a place runners want to be careful about.
You have just 1 tree animation now, the difference, which is approximately 8 seconds here, because I mean that's just what everything in this game is, honestly. Like, the difference here between these 2 runners is they're moving so fast between these through the back of Misty, so it doesn't look like it might be only 7 seconds to get through these areas, but it definitely is when they're so fast. So see, nice safety save there from Ronny, gonna make sure he doesn't actually take a death here. Might know now that the difference is less, especially if he did check the drum, or even if not, with some of his mistakes, you might feel that he's caught up. Definitely Dedew has been able to catch back up sometime, so Ronny gonna place an extra safety save there. Probably won't go for 1 here, but might go for 1 before the mini boss. So we'll see what if Ronny goes for the extra safety here. Is Dedew gonna place a save at the 4th keystone? So Ronny is gonna be able to here, and one thing actually now that as Ronny gets a good mini boss, and Dedew is gonna be coming up to his mini boss in just a second, not going to go for the save, so a bit of time save there for Dedew. And another thing I want to mention is that with the extra health that Dedew has, Ronny has to go get an extra health cell to be at in Horror Fields, which is about 3.5 to 4 seconds difference. So now he would still be slightly in the lead, but that's not that big of a difference. So he might be able to, if Ronny makes just a few more mistakes, might come down to just a movement in the final escape. We'll see what happens with that, as so we need to remember Ronny, because Ronny needs 2 health to finish the game, as Dedew only needs 1 more.
Yeah, and door warp is always a point of contention. It could take 10 door warps after all. Hopefully it won't for either runner. You don't want to be standing in front of the dungeon, but yeah, the time difference they have is pretty much 2 or 3 door warp attempts right now, so we'll have to see, as runners are now heading into the deeper part of Blackroot Burrow to obtain that final skill, and even just some setup problems with grenade jumps could make the difference here, so we'll have to see how that goes. But for now, Ronny will be the first one to obtain grenade tree at 25-52, and Dedew will follow suit with not even, well, 10 seconds about behind, so wow, this is insanely close.
about 10 seconds behind, but remember that extra health cell is around 3.5 to 4, so that means the lead is more like 6 now as we account for that. And so, see, what actually, if any difference comes in here is Ronny's making his way through, and Dedew as well gets the laser cycle, and it's going to begin these rocket jumps up to the top, so we'll see. Dedew is still definitely playing very well here at the end, so if Ronny just makes a few seconds worth of mistakes, drops an energy somewhere, takes 1 extra damage, because remember, if you take any damage, then it would cause him to not be able to do warm skip, so we'll see what happens with that. Is Ronny's now going to be in his health cell, so once he picks this up, this is going to be the true difference here, as Dedew, unfortunately though, is not going to have any energy left, so we'll lose just a bit of time here, going over here, so Dedew will lose some time there, as Ronny doesn't quite get the grenade jump, so he's going to be going for it now, so we'll see just the difference, but definitely if there's a missed door up here from Ronny, this definitely could change hands for sure.
Yeah, and Dedew also getting the grenade jump, so on par there, both at Mount Horror at the same time. This is actually coming down to door warp and execution in the final escape. This is insane, especially on this level, so we'll have to see. First try door warp on the side of Ronny, hopefully Dedew can follow suit and also have first try, as Ronny is setting up for that warmth skip. That is a few seconds saved if he can get it, but also means a bit more risk, as Dedew will not go for that, but just activate
Ronny
it
doesn't get
normally.
warm skip.
Oh, actually also going for it.
Yeah, so
Oh
Dedew
my
does
god,
get it. Ronny actually
Dedew
missed
now
warm
in
skip.
the lead.
Yeah, even though Dedew did get second try door up, he did get warm skip, and Ronny has not actually been able to get the warm skip. Misses it a second time as well, so if Dedew is able to get escape down here, then he will be able to take out the win in this race.
Yeah, literally coming down to the execution of the final escape. Dedew now in the S-band will have to wait for the right fish cycle, is stomping down now, can only take 4 damage, so hopefully gets out of the water safely, gets out, needs to not trigger Crow, and then set up for the final grenade jump, as Ronny finally got his warm skip as well, is through as well, and lost Dedew, won this with a slither. Oh my god, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, so even though Dedew did get second try on Dorp, because Ronny missed warm skip twice and then chose not to go for it the third time, just he should have played safe just so we can finish out the race. Ronny will be not quite be able to finish with the victory, and Dedew will instead be taking this race and keeping the streak alive of the lower seed, winning the matches in the matches where if the seeds will be even, one with the 1 seed difference. So Dedew's going to keep that streak alive for the whole tournament, and since the last match will be 1 versus 3, no more of that can happen. So Dedew will finish here with a final time of 29 minutes and 8 seconds, and will be taking the series 2-1 and going on to the final to face off against Ren next weekend.
GG, that was insanely close throughout the entire thing. Ronny being in the lead for the majority, then having some troubles with that warmth skip sent him behind Dedew, and he will finish with a time of 29:33, so 25 seconds after Dedew. Wow, I couldn't have wished for a better game 3.
Yeah, it was very, very exciting race for sure. Definitely all we could have asked for in this final match. So very, very good showing there from Dedew at the end to be able to close out this match and just get a good execution in the final escape and make sure that he can close it off, especially after missing Dorp the first try. He was able to bring it back with the rest of escape. So still very incredible time at the end for Dedew throughout the whole late game, especially as it was more on Ronny. Dedew played very well. Ronny's mistakes, just with the death, starting with the death and sorrow, and just a bit more Misty, and then Ronny just having those mistakes in Haru, not quite able with warm skip, not quite able to close out the final time. We'll was able to give Dedew time to win, and it's now going to be going on to the final.
Yeah, insane race for sure, and insane series we saw in game 1. Ronny pulling off an amazing show. In game 2 he had a bit of trouble, and game 3 unfortunately also due to some hard tricks, but it can't be underestimated how hard the tricks were that Ronny failed. Like, every single one of them, it wasn't an easy thing to do to start with, and he managed to still pull through, and Dedew just managed to be that little bit faster. And we do have both Ronny's on deck for an interview, so let's pull them in for an interview. GG to both of you. And GG to you, Dedew, for winning.
Thank you, GG Ronny.
Yeah, so going through the series, we kind of saw the differences of routing and decisions of safety play out. In the first match, Ronny, you were really close to your PB. Did that influence the way you were going about the run? Like, were you going to take more risks, or were you just going to finish it out and move on to the next one?
Sorry, I wasn't
I
listening.
think that was directed to me now.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was on for Ronny.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I was very happy about the first race, like keeping it cool and staying focused, and getting my first 27 in the tournament. For me, I mean, yeah, Ren got a couple, and my intention was to do the same for the other races. Like,
Yeah, you definitely pulled out such a great time, so GG on that first match for sure. And passing on a similar question to you, Dedew, you had a run that was 12 seconds off of PB on this run race number 2. Were you kind of hoping to get that PB, or were you just surprised, or what were your thoughts about that?
So to be honest, I didn't realize at all I was on PB pace, because I guess it's a race and I was just focusing on my race, not at all like on the split times or if I'm ahead of PB or not. So I just went for the safe strat because yeah, PB doesn't matter. Like since it wasn't a 27 anyways, like I'm aiming for a 27, so I guess I didn't care if I got like a 5-second PB. Like it doesn't really matter since I'm planning on riding for a 27 anyways.
Fair enough, but you pulled up a great time regardless, so GG. And another question to you, Ronny. We saw you struggle with some mistakes in the second game that kind of piled up. Were you able to reset in between the games, or was that second run still mingling in your head on that third run?
yeah, between the second and third runs, I was just practicing Funky Walk nonstop, with a bit of rest, of course.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I was trying to be on a new page with the third one.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And then, yeah, going to that final bit of the run, was warmth skip something you've struggled with in practice, or were you surprised that it gave you some troubles here?
It was a bit of a surprise, yeah. Usually, not many issues there. So, yeah. Turns out I think I was looking at this stream, like after the escape, and I'm pretty sure that's what lost me the race. Also,
Yeah, you were in the lead by, I think, 8 seconds or something entering horror.
sure,
And
8,
then,
yeah.
Unfortunately, it lost all of that due to warmth skip. Now, you mentioned that you only had the stream open later. Is that something that was true the whole series, or did you eventually check in for some parts?
The stream was open like on my phone for the whole time, and I was just like looking over at my phone once in a while.
Okay, makes sense. And you, did you check on your opponent, or did you just focus on your own game?
I didn't look at the stream like for the first one and the last one. On the second one, I did check at Grenade Tree where he was, and so that's when I saw that he was a long way behind, and I decided to go for safe strats and that's also a reason why I didn't do warm skip on the second race. Even though I was on PB pace and I had like plenty of energy.
Fair enough, fair enough. Playing it safe definitely won you that second match. But with that, you'll be moving on to the grand finals. Congratulations on that. Are you excited for that? How do you feel about Rin as your opponent? And can we expect anything special?
Yeah, in my opinion, I've already won the tournament. Like at this point, it's like the rest is just it's gonna be free.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that
Yep.
is the statement.
Fight me, Rin.
Okay, that was a fighting scenario for sure. For you, Ronny, that is unfortunately maybe a game about the third place against Leicester. How do you feel you did during the tournament, and what are maybe your future plans in the after the tournament?
I think I wasn't quite at my prime. I pulled out some 28s, which I'm happy about, but a lot of like a lot of mistakes, like inconsistencies. Like I had a couple like 30s and stuff, like the second race now. I was much less consistent than the 2018 tournament. So that's probably because of less practice. It makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, but definitely pulled off a great show for all of us today and for the rest of everything. But with that, I think that's what we have for tonight. Unless you, Lion, have a question for our runners.
I think that's all we have for tonight. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for helping out with this match, for helping out with tracking with stats for Skull in game 1 and 2, and then Turtle coming in game 3, and on as well on comms with Richard in game 1, and Shafe helping out in games 1 and 2, and Dukill for joining me in this match, and for Apple for restreaming the whole series. We will be back next weekend with the potentially third place match and the grand final between Rin versus Dedew next week. And so we'll see then next Sunday if the 2 p.m. UTC potentially for the third place match, but definitely 5 p.m. UTC next Sunday, May 15th, for the grand final. So you don't want to miss it. Definitely very exciting match. See the grand final. And so thank you everyone for watching the semifinals today. My name is Lion Almanar. See you next week.